Hello and welcome to In the Zone. My guest today moved to Winnipeg last year and has quickly become one of the city's most exciting young performers. He was nominated for Emerging Artist of the Year at the 2025 Manitoba Country Music Awards. His highly anticipated debut single, I'm Drunk Again, is out now. He's played at Times Changed, Blue Note Park, Must Be the Place, Alive at the Museum, Rainbow Trout Music Festival, his recent 15-stop tour through Western Canada, and now he's in the zone. It's Irvin Miller.
I've known the bottom quite some time. When I don't got one, the glass by my side. I lost my smile along with my pride, so I just keep on walking that thin line. I'm drunk again, yeah, I'm goddamn. I ain't got no friends left, except my old buddy Jack Daniel. Saul was the first standing underneath that bridge, and even he could not believe the state that I was in. I asked him how it feels, Lord. Feels to die, said it can't be worse, and that bottle running dry. So I'm drunk again, yeah, goddamn. I ain't got no friends, Lord, yeah, except my old buddy Jack Daniel. I'm drunk again, yeah, goddamn, goddamn. I got no friends, Lord, except my old buddy Jack Daniel. Oh, he's a good buddy too. I tell my mama I'm drunk. I'm on the In the Zone podcast, drunk again. Got no friends, Lord. Said I got no friends, Lord. No friends, oh. Said my old buddy Jack Dam. How was that? Good? Well, do a gospel number now for everybody. Well, now I looked over Jordan. What did I see? Coming for to carry me home. It was a band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home, Lord. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home, Lord. Well, I'm sometimes up and I'm sometimes down, coming for to carry me home. Whoa, whoa. I know my soul, Lord, is heavenly bound, coming for to carry me home, Lord. I swing low, Lord, I won't ride. Swing low, Lord, I won't ride. Swing low. ride. Ride, 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 ride. Well, if you get down before I do, I'm coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends, Lord, I'm coming too. Coming for to carry me home, Lord. You got to swing low, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, oh, sweet chariot. Coming for to carry me home. I said it's coming for to carry me home. Oh, Lord, it's coming for to carry me home.
Irvin Miller, we made it. We're here.
We made it.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm really excited. This is a pleasure.
Fuck yeah. New single is awesome. I'm Drunk Again, backed with horsepower.
Thanks, man.
That was the one too, because I've seen you a few times now, and the I'm Drunk Again is always one that I'm like, God fucking damn, that's a good song. So, yeah, like I was talking to Tyler, and he was telling me that you guys were recording. And I'm like, what are you guys hitting? He's like, I'm Drunk Again. I'm like, let's go, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it like recording with those guys?
It was so much fun, and they really do make the process easy. And that song, "I'm Drunk Again," I always call it my autobiographical tune. It's it's something that, you know, people sometimes ask. They're like, you know, is there one song that stands out that you've written? And it's always that one, and not because it's anything special. I actually think it's the opposite. It's a very simple and it's not a tune that you'd really bat an eye at, but I always liked it because it's just funny. I thought it was a funny title to start off with. That was sort of the prompt. And it kind of went from there and took on its own life. And I've always kind of liked to feel like when I had the initial inspiration to kind of draw a line between funk music and country and blues and everything, I kind of thought that was sort of the thesis tune, you know? Right. And so when I brought it to these guys, I remember back in April, Manitoba Music was hosting a new music night, and so it was time to assemble the Avengers, and I just took all the best musicians that I had the privilege of knowing pretty well at the time, and guys I'd just been to jams with a couple times, and I thought, you know, like this would be a one-off gig, it'll be fun, and you know, pay you a little bit, and then from there we've been playing for about 5 months now, and well, no, I guess 6 or 7 months now, and it's been nothing short of a privilege every time we take the stage. And the same goes with the studio. When we get in there and we're able to get a little more nitty gritty and get a little more, it's tedious work, but it's very just hyper attention to detail. Our live shows are, you know, very high energy because we love doing it, and so you can't always be very hypocritical and meticulous about the details. It's not going to be polished, but in the studio we're able to access a different part of our brains. So that's the long answer for saying it's been one of the best experiences ever. You know, I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. And Tyler said it was just one take for the whole thing, man. I'm sure you did a few takes, but the final cut is all one take, right? Yeah,
it means a lot to me to have everybody get full takes for the tracks. We don't punch in and out. It's something that you know, maybe the band I'm sure it's they're cursing me at times when I'm you know, again, run it again. But it's very important to me that every tune is a full take, you know. And so we'll usually I'll get everybody to the rhythm section records together, so we do a live off the floor, and so I'll be there with the rhythm guitar, and Cody Lane will be playing lead guitar in these singles, and Anton Yaruski on the Hammond organ, Luke Paul is on the bass, and Tyler Martins is on the drums. And so we'll all kind of get together and we'll lay that foundation to make sure it's cohesive. And if one of us messes up, then we everybody does it again. And so it's very important to me that track, the recording that's going to be consumed many, many times, has the initial energy of what you'd see at a live show. The other thing is we don't use a metronome. I think it's very important that these tunes are
they do deviate from standard tempo, because again, I think when I think about these people in their headphones putting this song on, I want it to replicate again, the high, sometimes sloppy energy that a live show brings. But I think not necessarily if you're doing anything else, you're doing it wrong. There's no wrong. That's the most beautiful part. But I think for me, it just feels weird. If it doesn't feel proper to me, it doesn't feel like me.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to say. And so regardless, we'll do the rhythm section live off the floor. We'll one take it. And if anybody messes up, we do it again. So it's a long, arduous process, but I'm so elated at the product and how it came out, And
Awesome.
so I hope everybody else is too.
Yeah. And the no click thing is it's an undertaking, because you can't, even if you wanted to slice up a little section,
Absolutely,
you're not doing it.
Push things around, you can't move things.
But yeah, sometimes like you hit the chorus and you feel it, 1-2 BPM faster, and you want a little bit more momentum, and there's a little sloshiness, a little moving around. It's like the old Stones records and all the classic stuff. It's
absolutely, that's if it worked for Motown, it works for me.
Yeah.
And I think that the romantic part about those songs is the fact that you listen to, and this is kind of the cool thing that connects two very, very different genres and sounds, because we all feel like we have to get divisive sometimes stylistically, but it's not the case. There's actually more unity than there is anything. If you take a punk rock tune by Germ or Misfits or something, and then you take the Temptations, the process, not necessarily the process, but the initial idea, I really do think was the same, where when these guys were getting into the studio, they wanted to replicate the live feeling of a live band playing a live song. And there's lots of people trying to do that throwback method of recording as well, and I think they're doing a fantastic job. But my point, I guess, being the unity that unites, again, you take Misfits and the Temptations, they're not too similar, but there's something so romantic about putting on that recording, and the fact that it does get a little messier near the end. They're getting louder near the end. They're getting and it's uncompressed, and they're getting faster near the end. It's because it's exciting, man. They're having fun, and they're getting to the end. It's the big opus and the climax of the tune, or whatever you may say. And there's nothing wrong with somebody that uses a metronome, but I think if I met them, I would say that don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let these imperfections actually be IDs and be characteristics of this recording, because really, to me personally, that's the most beautiful part.
Yeah. And sometimes in post, producers will even change tempos and stuff up,
Absolutely,
like throughout the track. And so it's like, why not just go with the feel on the floor,
Yeah.
There's I remember there's a Kings of Leon song, I forget which one now, but it is progressively getting faster throughout the whole song on a linear, it goes a few BPM faster towards the end, which is dope. But then it's cool, yeah, I mean, that's probably how they're feeling it. To me now, my band gets fucking fast. we like to speed through shit, and just progressively, usually feeling it faster. But
because it's authentic, that's the natural human inclination. I don't understand why we want to pretend like we're inhuman on these products. This is actually what we're trying to do as musicians is come in here and give you the most authentic, organic. At least I'd hope so. Because if you don't, it just feels.
Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And so when you're getting in there and you're trying to make the most authentic, organic version of your art, you can't sustainably ignore your human inclinations. You have to succumb to them, and if you're lucky, you'll learn to embrace them. And it's a lifelong journey. It's not very easy to do, but when you find inspiration of others doing that, it makes it a little easier, And I was blessed to kind of be raised in those catalogs of old R&B music and old school country music and blues and these sorts of things, where they found the beauty in the imperfections, and that actually became the most timeless part of these recordings. It's and like you said, like your band, like anybody, it's exciting. The crowd's going and you're going, and you're all out locking eyes, and that's the coolest part. So why wouldn't you want to live in those moments? As much as you can, even if you have to design them, it just makes it more fun.
Yeah. And you guys live are doing a whole lot of unplanned stuff, a whole lot of improving.
Yeah.
Was that always like from the jump when you were forming the band? That was the vision, eh?
Yeah, well, no. Well,
Oh, okay.
it's hard to say because I think yes and no, and I'll explain. To me, in the band, I won't say the band hates it, but it's like, wouldn't it be convenient if this guy stuck to the set list? I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's not something, the reason I say no is because it's not something that was ever really what's the word I'm looking for? It was never a conversation we all sat down and said, okay, we have to be spontaneous and we have to be unpredictable. But also simultaneously, it is a bit of an expectation of mine that the musicians around me are able to follow on the drop of a dime because that's what the crowd deserves. We have to understand as performers and entertainers, professionally so, we're getting paid to be there. And even if you aren't getting paid to be there, your volunteer spot, you're a public servant and you're entertaining these people, and that's a beautiful job, and it's one that I take very seriously. And I think it's such a gift that I'm able to have in my life. And so I want to treat every room that I'm playing in, that the band is playing in, with the respect that they deserve. And if it's nothing less than the absolute unique performance, then I'm not doing well enough at my job. And so I think that when I look at the room, when I look at these people, and when I'm listening to the reaction to each song and to each moment and feeling out this room, there's a psychology to it. And I'm thinking about what are they responding to, not responding to, and what those responses kind of mean. And so there was never a conversation where the band, where I was like, okay, like they're like a job interview and you're like, okay, like, are you spontaneous? Are you unpredictable? Yeah. But there is, I think, a unsaid understanding that that's what it takes. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world for all of those reasons, but also because I've been gifted with a band that understands that truly and thoroughly. And it's not something that they rebel against. In fact, they embrace it. And they're doing different things every time. And we brought the horns in, and now the horns are I hear them, like, I'll listen back to maybe a video or two or something of a show, and I'll hear them doing their own horn lines, that they're just kind of feeling it on the drop of a dime. And I'm like, I didn't even tell them to play that. But it's like, that's the cool part, is because they felt the song, they felt the room, and their body told them to do this. And it only makes the product so much more better. And I think those moments where you don't even quite know, and like you would understand, like when you're just jamming with a band and you're locked in the groove and there's not even a thought going through your mind, and you're so not quite glazed over, but it's almost like second nature. You're not thinking any thoughts. I think there's something so cool about those moments, and because you go into a subconscious state and you do things that you wouldn't do. When I sit down and play the guitar, I'm thinking about all these things. I'm thinking about scales and keys and this and that or something. Sometimes when you're playing, you escape to this other place where you throw all logic out the window and you actually end up coming up with the best things that you could ever come up with. And so
100%.
I think the mindset that I've just been outlining breeds a ground for that and a foundation for that, but it cultivates a ground for a unique moment in time that every audience is no doubt owed. And I think that any entertainer that wants to consider themselves like a professional performer, entertainer, needs to understand that these people took time out of their day, got out of their pajamas, came down to a place that they maybe have never been before, maybe to another city that they've never been before, paid copious amounts of money just to experience your art. These people deserve a lot of respect, and they make, whether we like it or not, these other musicians and performers of all type, they're making your craft viable as a way of life. And so, I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but you got to think about that, because these people deserve like the utmost performance. You got to give them everything, or you're giving them nothing.
Yeah. That's a bar right there. I like that.
Run it back. That's going to be the trailer. That's the hook.
Yeah. Man, I love how all the other members too aren't afraid to because you're usually leading the charge and be like, oh, bring it down, bring it down. Oh, I saw this clip the other day or from the single release show.
Oh yeah,
you're like introducing the band, and then you're like, and keeping time in the back. Hold up, bring it down, bring it down. Bring it down. You're like, I got this watch. It sucks to keep in time, but when I'm on stage, I know what time it is. It's Tyler Marks. But
Yeah.
but the other guys too, like last show I saw at Must Be the Place.
Right on, yeah.
Where you were playing bass, we'll get to that. But but Anton at one point, like he just has this idea and he like shouts like, yo, and he goes like a bloop,
Yeah.
bloop.
Oh,
and then everyone like was like, okay, yeah, and then we go follow that, you know. So it's like there's, you know, you've clearly fostered this environment of like just free creativity where everyone can just, you know, it's whatever's best for the song, and the ideas people are bringing forth are always bangers.
Oh man, and you hit the nail on the head, but I want to say that like fostering the creativity was like the easy part. I had the easy part of the job. I'm the lucky guy because I get these talented musicians around me, and it's such a good feeling as a band leader, or however you'd want to classify it, to have these individuals around you that, you know, I trust these people. I would trust Anton to represent me in court. You know, like, Tyler, Cody, LP.
Yeah.
You know, they could deliver my firstborn child. You know, these are guys that I really, really do trust with my life, and they're my best friends, and it's a relationship that is so, like you said, we'll be on stage and somebody will look at me, Calway, Jordy, any of these guys in the band, and they'll look at me and we'll lock eyes, and they'll just like, I can tell by the expression of their face where they're going. I know where they're going, and we're able to link on even when we mess up, which we do all the time, every song. But it's about having the trust in one another that when we do mess up, as soon as we feel it, we all reconvene without communication and just get right back on track. And that's the coolest feeling in the world. So I really like, if I foster the environment, like, that's awesome. But I really do like, you know, I did the easy part. You know, these guys are really making it happen, you know.
Yeah. And when you do mess up, you're either recovering, all you guys are either recovering so fast that it doesn't even matter, or it's just like a funny moment because the whole audience, like, we know that you're just going off, right? Like there's no secret here that like, oh, this is all, we've rehearsed this exactly how it is. So like, we know you're going off, and so when you mess up, you just like laugh about it, and it's like a cool moment even for the audience to be like, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And then you get right back on the rails, and we're good to go.
Absolutely. And well, and that's a great way of putting it too, and I think that helps to maybe just not take yourself so seriously, which we don't. Like, we're not classically trained, and even I know lots of people that are, you know, consider themselves classically trained, and not all of them. A lot of them are like that too. But sometimes there are people that you know, take their craft very seriously, and that in itself is a great point of pride, and I condone them for that. But yeah, sometimes you just got to remember that it's just not that deep. I've played so many songs, and I get into the song, and I was really excited to play them, and then you get into it, and it's like, man, you're looking around, and like, nobody likes this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
nobody's having a good time, including me. And so it's just helpful, I think, in those moments to remember that, you know, they're mostly 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it'll be over, and then everyone will forget. If you play a good one and that's good enough after that one, everyone will just forget about it, you know, or they won't care. Or there's a myriad of different options, but we definitely don't. One thing we don't do is take ourselves very seriously, and that's another blessing, you know.
And it's good to have that looseness too. If you see something on the set list like you'll do, and you're just like, man, I don't want to play this right now. Like let's do something else.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that all the time, and I apologize. but you know, again, it all goes back to being in the moment, because I know you see a lot of shows, and as do I, and we'll see each other at shows, et cetera, and it's like I already know that we, and anyone listening and watching has seen a band that is just so by the preparation, and there is, I want to say right here on the record, there is nothing wrong with that. However, I will say that again, it goes back to the point that the script, people sometimes consider the script to be more important than the moment, and I just think that that's a crime to some of these people that potentially paid like $20 to $30. I was a time in my life where $20 to $30 was like, it was everything to me. Like I was living and riding on $20, and there is so much that you can do with that type of money, but they instead took that money, spent it on you. Not only that, but they gussied themselves up. They got in the social battery mode. And they came on out. Give these people a personalized show. They deserve it. You know, that's what I would say. Nothing wrong with the book.
Yeah.
Going by the book is good. People have done it for years, and the book has never failed them. But I've never been very good at reading, so I prefer not to. I prefer not to.
Yeah, I think I usually do stick to the set, but I'm venturing from it. I think like if I'm doing solo acoustic especially is when I'll be like, not right now. Like I'm
Absolutely.
With the band, it's more like, because we also like practice like transitions and everything with the band. It's like that's pretty like we're on it. And then also just depends on the crowd, right? Like if everyone's just hype on your set as it is,
Oh yeah.
then you just roll through it. Like
Exactly.
like you planned it to be in this pacing, and then if everyone's locked in, everyone's on board, you just you finish it up.
It's only those moments where you feel people sort of getting, not necessarily even like, hopefully, god damn, they're not like booing and throwing tomatoes, you know? But it's when they start to get a little disconnected.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, what can
what-
I do?
yeah.
What can I do? You're a mechanic. You're working on a car, you're wrenching. The car's driving just fine, but it's like, man, how can I make this thing fly? You know, it's it's just those little things, a little garnish.
Yeah.
How can I make this dish really blow somebody's mind? The meat's cooked. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
But how can I make this thing soar? And sometimes that is just sticking to the set. And that's a great point, because I don't want to sound like I'm just like, Like I don't want to sound like a snob or something. Like, you know, you always got to do crazy stuff. Sometimes it's just like, man, this is a great set. We're cooking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's great, you know what I mean? I think it's more in the moments where it's like, you do feel people, because it's inevitable.
For sure.
You do feel people kind of start to waver and disconnect a little bit. It's like, man, how can I grab them? You know, I spent a lot of time playing on the street with in no particular direction to go in life. And I remember that was sort of my mindset. How can, especially when you're playing, you know, more or less for meals, how do you, because when you're on the street, people don't just go to the street for fun. They're not just walking down the sidewalk because it's an activity as part of their day. They're going somewhere. They're on their way or coming from a location that was planned, that they wanted to or had to go to, work, pleasure, leisure, doesn't matter. They don't go out and seek buskers. A lot of people don't do that. Some maybe do, but I've yet to meet one. And how can I grab their attention? What can I do? And so I think that's it's the same as even in a ticketed event. Everyone's doing good and everyone's doing great, but how can we make this really great? You know, it's always.
Do you have any go-to songs that you'll go to when that's the feeling where it's like, I need to get these people right now?
I think it changes, but I will say, My Girl by the Temptations has always been good to me. I've always loved Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye. And then maybe Folsom Prison Blues. I find those three, who knows how I do them, but they're recognizable enough and I think widespread enough that people will turn to them, whether it's like because they recognize them, because it's nostalgic or something, or just because those three songs really are some of the best ever written, you know. So those songs have always done me right, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are you usually listening to these days?
I think it changes by the day. I always have my old time go-tos, you know. From the day I was born, I was sort of listening directly or indirectly to Johnny Cash. He's somebody that has just been present in my life. His work has been present in my life for a long, long time. Waylon Jennings as well, and Willie Nelson. And as well, though, Al Green is big for me, and Bill Withers is maybe even bigger. And people like Marvin Gaye as well, and Aretha Franklin. But I think recently I've been on a big Mahalia Jackson kick. She was always a big inspiration to me when I was growing up. But then criminally, the last couple of years, I sort of left her discography behind. And so I've really been trying to adopt it back into my life. And I've learned just so many things just listening to her sing. But lately, you know, I've been trying to get a little contemporary. I find that, and especially playing gigs for bars and stuff where you're doing like the majority covers, and you want songs that people will instantly click into. Like,
Yeah.
I know that one. That's on my Spotify.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to go on a contemporization journey to not be an old head anymore. I want to deflect the unk allegations.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to get in with the kids these days and learn the memes and whatnot, and learn some newer songs. So I find I've been listening to a lot more contemporary music, contemporary blues and country, you know, Gary Clark Jr. and Kingfish and Charlie Crockett and Zach Top has been on my playlist, and quite a bit. Margot Price recently has been big for me. Sierra Farrell has been very big. The list can go on and on and on. A lot of vocal jazz as well, a lot of vocal big band stuff like the Rat Pack and those sorts of things. But I'm not too deep into that world. I would like to be one day, but I'm just sort of dipping my toes in. And
I could see Irvin Miller leading the big band. That could go off actually.
I gotta get a bit more suave.
Yeah.
But it could come. I think you can put it on the record now. If my life goes according to plan, I'd like for one day to have one album of just jazz standards.
Yeah.
With a big band, and so like Count Basie kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
That's funny. I never considered that, but I do see it.
It'll happen.
I do see it. Yeah.
It'll happen. I don't know when, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
At least just a couple, you know, just to let people know that you know, I can throw down with the cats.
Yeah.
A guy can swing.
Yeah.
But I'm a student of the game. I'm not a pro. I'm nothing, but I just listen, and so I'd like to, when I can, you know, I'm about to die in like 2 minutes, not actually, but like in the future, I would like to be able to look back and just, if nothing else, I really just want people to know that just I study really hard for this, and I think a lot about it, and I really care.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really care about the product I'm putting out and the service that I can maybe provide for somebody musically. And so I say all this to say that, yeah, I would love to explore, you know, more genres and maybe more unpredictable genres, even though I don't even quite care for that word, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Just if nothing else, just, and not even just so people can, oh, this guy's educated, you know, this guy listens, but it's more just because it's like, I just freaking love music, man. This is so sick. Brings so many people together, and it's really, really cool. So I don't want to be confined by one very minuscule window of it. I want to have lots, just for my own joy, if nothing else, you know.
Yeah. And you can tell that you love music, man. That's like literally just what it is, whether you're with your band and you're absolutely losing your brain, you're just lost in the sauce, or like with at Alive at the Museum there, you had like a 3-hour set or some shit.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what a funny gig.
Yeah,
that was hilarious, because Alive at the Museum, for anybody that doesn't know, is ruled by DJs and electronic music and dance music producers and curators, and this sort of sound, and rightfully so. It's fantastic. It's such a well organized event, well produced. All the performers and DJs, a couple of them, even I met a lot of them that night. They're so talented.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good at what they do. And so, to my surprise, I get the call. They're like, we're putting we're putting 2 rooms together that are just gonna be acoustic music. Like, do you want to do 3 hours? And I was like, I said, hell yeah. I thought at first they were gonna make me DJ, and I was like, I don't really have like the equipment. I'll just be like on my phone,
Yeah.
Spotify with like the crossfade. But I realized little on they wanted me to do some acoustic music, so I was excited to see what it would be like. It was more, I was sort of like a segue between 2 of the more major rooms. And so I think I was just kind of like a breath of fresh air for people that like needed just like more of a quiet, intimate setting.
Yeah.
You know, because again, like in those sorts of environments, I've never been a big club or rave sort of dude, but in those environments, it's important to just like, check in with you and your buddies and everything, and because it's a very stimulating environment. And so I was happy to they would go into one of those rooms and I'm playing country songs in the corner. But it was funny. There was a lot of people. I met a lot of friends that night.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it's just funny because you brought that up. I haven't thought about that gig since I played it.
Yeah.
But that was so much fun.
Yeah. I think, it was a great play getting you and, was it Shane Hunter? Is that his name?
Yeah. Who I didn't meet. I just knew he was there in the building.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
But I've heard great things. He's great.
He was really good. Yeah, I think it was a great play because it was extremely overstimulating, all the music everywhere, and then you walk in, it's like, okay, let's just chill. Irvin Miller's going off on a 10-minute blues tune. We're good.
Yeah, that was a good night.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go grab. I got notes over here. I left them over there.
Yeah, buddy. Do you know how to solve the Rubik's Cube?
I do.
Really?
Yeah, I learned it when I was like 13 or 12.
Do you have like a speed?
Like
have you
if
timed
I did
yourself?
it now, I could probably do like a minute 20.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
It's not that long at all, bro. That's unreal.
I would do it right now, but when you're listening to it, it is long. I think that's yeah.
I'll be hyping you up. I'll throw some ad libs in the back. That's cool though.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did not always live in Winnipeg. You were. Was it
No, sir.
Newfoundland?
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And yeah, what was that like, and why'd you move? And give me the scoop.
Absolutely. Born and predominantly raised, at least in the Maritimes. I bounced around quite a bit as a child growing up, but born in Nova Scotia, and we got some property there, and then this small village called the Knoll Shore, just like some farmland and stuff, and grew up in a semi-nearby small town called New Glasgow. And later on, after doing some bouncing around, like I mentioned, I moved back to Nova Scotia and lived in Halifax for a couple years in Dartmouth there. And I loved it. It was great. It's for anybody that hasn't visited, it's really nice scenery, and the city of Halifax is great. They got a great music scene there. Garrett Mason is somebody I really admire, and he was actually supposed to come this way to Winnipeg, but I think his van broke down or something. So if you ever get a chance to see Garrett Mason, he'll bring you a bit of Nova Scotia blues. But it's a great place, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. But I think I knew that the time for me was sort of expiring. I was getting a little claustrophobic, you might say, being on the end of the country. The nearest major city, and I already know that I'm going to get flack from people in the Maritimes saying that there's no major cities there, but the nearest major city is Montreal, and that's from Halifax, a 12 and a half hour drive. If you really put the jets on, you can get there in maybe an 11. and 11 and a half. But it can be taxing, and it's more really the FOMO, if anything, the fear of missing what these other cities bring. And so I had nothing really going on, and so I thought, well, I got a dream and I got a couple dollars in my pocket, and I sure do have a guitar, so I'm gonna go try my hand in Toronto. So I move all the way to Mississauga, lived there very, very briefly, and realized very quickly that it was not the place for me. And the situation I was in was not the situation that I wanted to be in any longer. So
why was it not the place?
I think it was definitely a collection of things, broad and personal. I think the city of Toronto is, I've never really been. I think growing up in Halifax, growing up in Nova Scotia, but then moving back to Halifax, I kind of eased myself as I grew up. I eased more and more into the city center, and there was a time where I was really fiending for the city. I was really loving it and the lifestyle it provided. And, I think I was maybe under the misconception that every city is like Halifax. And the more I've done traveling since then, I've realized that every city, every single one is different. Mm-hmm. And when I got to Mississauga, I was like, oh, it's outside Toronto, so I'll be in a place that's not Toronto. And you realize that Mississauga itself is near, I think, or maybe even surpassed by now 900,000 people. And it's just a lot. And the other thing I didn't realize is how much saturation there is in the music and even the more broader arts community. Now, there's so much talent there, and it's really unreal. And there's so much access to touring musicians and entertainment and things like this. But at the same time, my critique of Toronto, I think, is that although there is so much talent there, there's not there's pretty, if I do say so, inadequate support for these independent musicians. A lot of the saturation is ruled by major label musicians and musicians that already have quite a bit of traction, that they don't need the support. What I love about Manitoba and what I love about the Manitoba music scene and the Manitoba music organization and everything like this is that there is almost there's no overabundance, but there is certainly so much support for independent musicians. If it's not from the organization or from the provincial government or what have you, it's from the scene. I saw this video, and I grew up in the church, so it's always giving me these church videos on Instagram, these memes and stuff. And there was this preacher that was saying, she was saying that bacon, you put bacon in the pan, and it creates its own oil, and it cooks itself in its own oil. Now, bear with me, folks. I think, and she was using that as a metaphor to say that, you got to create your own strength. You got to create your own this, that, the other thing. And I think Manitoba does a phenomenal job of doing that. It cultivates its music scene from within its own music scene. Ontario, well, I don't know about Ontario, but the GTA has a harder time of doing that. Now, there's lots of talent, again, like I said, but I think there needs to be more support from the people with the money and the people with the accommodations that these artists could so desperately use. And so I was experiencing that the hard way in Mississauga, and quite frankly, I ran out of money and I had nowhere to go, and I thought, shoot, well, this is not quite what I planned at all. I thought I'd be, stardom, living in a mansion by now. What do I do now? And so I called upon my sister, and she had just, at the time, coincidentally had her first daughter. And I thought, maybe I could try my hand at Winnipeg. I'd visited here once or twice. And I certainly loved the prospect of being a plugged-in uncle. And so I thought, I'll come here for the summer. And the summer turned into the fall, turned into the winter, the spring, and lots of other seasons. And now I'm just still here, bumming around.
Wait, so was that last year or the year before even?
I would have moved here to, that would have been June of 2024.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess we're closing in, I guess, just a little over a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And I mean it when I say it. It is the best decision that I've ever made. You know, I'm hoping if people will have me, I really want to stay here for a long time and have this be the roots. You know, maybe get an honorary Manitoban card. Just got my health card in the mail. That took a long time, but I felt like there's some pride to that. I love Manitoba, and the funny thing is too, it's that I could tell that other people love Manitoba too, Manitobans that were born and raised here. But there's this like funny belief that it's like, you know, Manitobans are the best at making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
But man, it's like from an outsider's perspective, like I love this place, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Even the silly small towns, like it's just I'll go to these places that even some Manitobans born and raised here have never heard of it. And I just really like it. I really like what this province has to offer. I love the music scene, the musicians, and even the people on the street. Even if I don't know you, I love you. And Manitoba has been nothing but kind to me. And so I can't thank everybody enough, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed to leave the city to realize how great it was, because I was one of those people. And
Winnipeg
I was like,
especially, yeah.
When I was like 18, 19, I'm like, this place fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Vancouver. And then
which is only natural.
Yeah.
Not the going to Vancouver part,
no, but yeah,
the
like,
hating where you're from, the resentment from where you're from, I should say. And
then getting back, I'm like, actually this place is pretty fucking chill. And especially music scene is incredible, like unreal.
It's unrivaled.
Yeah.
And people know it. And I think that Winnipeg and the greater area of Manitoba has reinforced that constantly, year after year, after decade. And people definitely, it's not like it's not on the map, but I think recently, I really feel like on a national scale, there has been such a spotlight put on Manitoba as a hot spot for the greatest songwriting to come out of Canada. And I think it's so long overdue. And again, not that it hasn't been there before. You know, the Guess Who and lots of other, the weaker bands, and you know, we've had the 70s through the 2000s. Those were some of the most best-selling bands out of Canada, BTO and things like this. And now we see in this modern age, there's lots of other independent artists, some of which I'm privileged enough to call buddies now, that are doing that, and the national scale is taking notice. But I just think really recently, there's just been an uptick in the attention that Winnipeg and Manitoba as a whole has been drawing in. And like I said, it's long overdue, you know.
Jarring cut here due to technical difficulties. Sorry about that.
When in doubt, we'll just have to get you to sell the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
That'll keep everybody, that'll hook everybody back in.
I recently did a tour across Western Canada, a bunch of small towns.
Yeah.
And that sounded like so much fun. What was that like?
What a privilege. What a privilege. And the thank you first goes out to Home Roots. Home Roots called me up. Leonard Podolak called me up, and Kathy Crawford, and they offered me the spot, and it wasn't even a decision. I was elated, and so it was a dream come true. Really, my first tour on a larger scale. You know, it was 15 shows in 18 days, and certainly that was the largest larger than I had been accustomed to before, and so it was great. It was so much fun. And I'd never been to British Columbia before. This is my first time there. And so I remember we were driving through Jasper, got into British Columbia, and I'm just glued out the window, looking at the mountains and stuff. But what I didn't hear anybody prepare me for was going west. So I started in Quesnel and did a couple small towns just outside Prince George, Vanderhoof and Fort St. James and these other areas. And then I went all the way northwest. So I went up to Prince Rupert. And to do that, you have to take the Yellowhead Highway through an area called Hazelton. And you get through this coastal ranges. And it's this big mountain range. And the Rocky Mountains, they're all that. They're great. Like, there's no downplaying them. But my goodness, these coastal mountains are so fascinating. And the highway is even set up so that it's like unveiling themselves like a show. It's like a theatrical mountain range. You're a twisty, turny road, and you get around a corner, and this huge mountain is sitting there, and there's mountains like hanging over the rock formation, the geology or whatever is hanging over the highway. Really amazing. And so not only were the shows so much fun, and each audience was so kind and supportive of what I brought to the table, but just the topography and the scenery was truly unbelievable. And then so after doing 12 shows in British Columbia, I crossed back over to Alberta and did a couple shows in northern Alberta, an hour or so north of Grand Prairie, and Peace River, and a couple small farming villages around that area. And I can't I can't think of an adjective that would really do it justice, but man, I had so much fun. And Home Roots, again, is to thank, and each town that worked to promote the show and take me in and give me accommodations and food, and everybody that played a role in it. I'm just so humbled and thankful and privileged to have had that experience and have that to add on to my resume.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so the shows themselves, were they like bars? What were you usually playing?
Yeah, so a lot of them were it was a variety. So we played in I played in breweries and bars, but also some churches and community spaces, a Legion, which was not my first time playing a Legion, but definitely the most notable time, just in terms of the characters that showed up. Fraser Lake was wild. There was an interesting cast of characters at that show, but it was so much fun. And we played. I played in 2 houses along my way as well. 2 house concerts. Prince Rupert was one of them, and one in Alberta as well. Valley View. And man, also I will say too, not to give out too much information, I'll leave them unnamed, but the house that I was playing in was supported around it. There was 100 or so old classic Dodge and Chrysler scrap vehicles. So it was some trucks, it was some cars, it was just paraphernalia. And this guy took me through a tour. He was so kind and so educated, and it took about an hour and a half, but I wanted it to be longer. He just told me about the history of every single vehicle that he had, the scrap body or whatever mechanics were still working in it. And he just took me through this yard that they have on their property, and he had all these cars, and that was definitely a notable moment. But my broader point being that there's so many notable moments and notable experiences that I would have gotten, without this tour. And I'm just so thankful for every single one. The performing is great, but just the living is even greater.
Yeah. And so how did that did they hit you up to do it, Home Roots?
Yeah, they gave me the call. They planned. They have, I think, 5 or 6 different tour legs across Canada, and they run those routes about 4 to 5 times a year. And so there was just I'm thankful enough that there was communication amongst many different parties, and my name got from me to Leonard Podolak and Kathy Crawford there. And I guess I was I'm proud to say that they saw something in what I was doing, and it was worthy of going on this big escapade, because I don't know what it was, but I'm certainly thankful. Yeah.
Do you have time to do much exploring?
A little bit, I saw some regional landmarks. Northern Alberta is crazy about, I think it's 12-foot Davis. There's a lot of gold mining that goes on around there, and so got to see a couple of those sites and 12-foot Davis's like grave and his couple statues and things like this, and got to see some beautiful farmland through the Saddle Hills country, and in British Columbia got to see a couple mountain ranges and stuff, which was very, very nice. And when we went farther west, we were able to see kind of things along the Pacific coast, and there's one town we played in called Smithers, and it was like situated in a mountain range, and so it's just this valley, and you have a complete perimeter around you of mountains and peaks, and that was really, 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 really cool to look at as well. And not a ton of you know, touristy things that you may do in a place like that, but a lot of cathartic time to take in the scenery around you, which is not something that I wish away. You know, it means a lot to me.
You big outdoors guy? You like hiking and stuff?
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man, and I love being outside, and I've always loved trying to get in with nature as much as I can, and animals specifically. Never been a big hunting guy. It just feels kind of cruel to me a little bit because I don't need to do it for food. I don't need to hunt for any kind of provisionary sense. And I just think hunting for sport, there's nothing wrong with it. If you do it, it's great, but it's just never really something that I was too drawn to. I prefer just kind of hiking and observing nature, observing animals from a distance, you know, and maybe feeding them an apple. It's more my speed, but I love being outdoors, and I love hiking as much as I can, and I think it's always a great perspective I like to write songs from as well, you know, just with a clear head with nature around me. Find I get some of my best inspiration from being amongst the trees, being out in farmland, and looking at the prairies and things like this. You know, it brings me a lot of therapy, really. You know, yeah.
It's good to do it while you're out there. I mean, here, like I've done some hikes around the city, but you need to get like 2-3 hours out to get like the really, really good stuff.
Yeah, there's some great ones, and there's some great, especially Manitoba too. They have some nice national parks in Western Ontario as well, and I haven't been too close to like Lloydminster and like Eastern Saskatchewan area. I haven't done too much exploring. I'm usually probably booting it to Regina or past, and so. But I can guarantee you they also have some nice stuff.
I wanted to do the Mantario. You hear about that one?
No, what's that?
It's like, it's in between Manitoba and Ontario, but it's an overnighter. It's like, I don't even want to estimate the distance right now because I don't really know. But you could do it in like one night or two. One night if you're cooking it. 2 nights usually is what you would do it.
Like a hike?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was maybe gonna do it this year, didn't do it this year, and then at like Thanksgiving dinner with my family, I was talking about like, oh yeah, I should do that next year, and then I found out it's fucked. It got burned.
What?
Yeah.
It's like
it's so much shit.
Like a forest fire.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Mantario.
Yeah. So it'll be back, I think, but like just right now, and probably for several years, it's gonna be.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a real shame.
Yeah.
Well, when they have it open to the public again, if that's even a good idea, I would also like to do that. That sounds cool.
Right.
Kind of like an overnighter thing.
Yeah. There's also that's great. That's not overnight. Hunt Lake.
Okay.
It's like near West Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I think that one's like 10K or 12K or something like that.
Right.
Including like elevation. So yeah, it's like 5 hours, probably maybe 6 hours to go there and back, and you get to the end, and there's like a little shack with like a fire pit and stuff. You sign your name on the wall, and then you come back.
Shoot, that's fun.
Yeah,
I like when they always have a little reward at the end.
Yeah,
it makes you feel
there's like a nice chill spot. You know, like you get to the end, you don't want to just like, all right, now we're back.
Yeah, now we gotta go home. Yeah. It feels like there's like some sort of ceremonial aspect to it, you know.
You saw some people there making coffee. We're like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's fun.
Light it up. They had the pot and everything. We're like,
old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I think when you go that far, 5-6 hours, you need something. It's just like almost the equivalent to a finish line, And you know what? I will say too, one of my critiques, bringing it back to the tour, when you go to Prince Rupert from Winnipeg, that span of distance is known as the 16, the Yellowhead Highway. And when I got to Prince Rupert, I was hoping that there was some kind of, driving end to end on the Yellowhead, I was hoping there was some kind of signage that was like, okay, you've reached the end. There's nothing. It just brings you to a Walmart. Couldn't believe it. I was hoping that I was going to go in and buy your Cookie Monster pajamas now. There's nothing really to celebrate the driving. And so I like when there's sort of like you go on something like this and there's a nice sort of accomplishment mark.
Yeah.
that was my only critique on the tour. Everything else was great.
What was the show highlight?
I think the ones that were well attended.
Mm-hmm.
It's always easier. I played the Echoes for many hours of my life.
Did most people know you were coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is good. That definitely helps.
Yeah,
and there was most places had more than sufficient promotion and everything, and I'm thankful people that showed up. Most of them, took time to listen to what I have available on the internet and things like this. And so but a lot of people too were also going in blind, and so it's a funny dichotomy to have amongst your audience, and you kind of, I think, just have to shed it and just remember that you're doing your thing no matter what. And I was lucky enough too that a lot of places had local radio stations and different media resources and stuff, so I could sort of get in contact with them a few weeks in advance and do an interview or something and direct them to the ticket link and do it that sort of way. But sometimes they were just kind of going in blind, and so it's always nice when somebody's going in blind to your show and you're able to positively surprise them. But no doubt maybe that wasn't the case in every performance, but certainly lots of notable moments, I'm sure. Playing in some of those churches was a really, really positive experience. Churches are also, whether you're spiritual or not, they're sort of built and they're constructed to really complement music and complement acoustics and things like this. And so sometimes playing in some of those, I'm traveling with all the sound gear and stuff, but you get set up in this beautiful church and it's doing the work for you. You barely need to turn the mic on. And so some of those performances I really look back on positively, and there were certainly some notable people along the way that just shared very intimate and positive experiences with me, stories about maybe a song I sang or what a song I sang that maybe even I wrote made them think of, and introducing me to family and providing me with books they've written and they'll give them to me and photos and stuff like that. It's like I don't deserve any
one
of
guy
this.
like drew you on stage.
My gosh, yeah. So I'm playing and I take a break, and I was through every tour for the show. I would take about, most of these venues would be set up with refreshments or drinks or something. So I'd do 2 sets. I would split it up and have like just a 10-minute intermission just to give people a moment to refresh themselves and whatever they may have to do. And so I sort of try to make my rounds amongst the intermission, just try to meet everybody personally and garner these experiences with people and introduce myself really in a personal way. And I'm doing that in Alberta, and one of the guys I go up to, he's saying, "I hope you don't mind, but I've been drawing you." I didn't quite know what he meant at first, and then I looked down at the table, and he really is. He's working on this sketch of me playing, and I just couldn't believe it. It's not only emotional, but it's just so humbling. It's such a privilege, man. What I do is so friggin' cool, and I will never ever get over the way music can make me feel, how I understand it can make other people feel. But there is just something so unspoken. And this is why, like, I personally classify myself as a spiritual person, and I do, believe in a God, is because I do not have a better explanation for what that feeling is. There's something so outside of my understanding when music is being played, and the fact that I'm able to just keep racking up these positive, life-changing, damn near experiences with these people, I don't know. There has to be something. But regardless of that topic, I just cannot explain how lucky I am to meet people like that, and just to have, he's doing nothing. He was drawing a picture, but I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was freaking out because it was cool. And it's I'm looking at my life and I'm thinking how silly this tour is. I'm thinking how silly my songs are. But I'm like, man, there's something that all of those situations did to lead me to this moment. And I am so criminally fortunate.
Yeah.
And we talked for a while. We shared a beer, and he gave me I didn't even see him at the end. I go up to play my second set, and as soon as I'm done, I turn around to kind of put my guitar and turn off my amp and stuff like that, and I look back, and he had left and left the photo for me near my sort of stage area, and really cool, man, really cool. I didn't catch his name, but whoever that gentleman is, I have it hung up in my apartment now. So
hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, very nice, very cool experience.
And you're talking about music being a spiritual experience. I've definitely felt that. Yeah. And music has always been like an integral part of like religious ritual and everything.
Sure.
Yeah. What's what are some times, if you can point to anything specific, where like music has really felt like you've like elevated you, transcended in some way?
Every single one.
Right.
And every single one. And that's the reason why I'm a big proprietor of gospel music. I think growing up in the church and learning to sing in that context and performing publicly and these sorts of things, you learn that it's the most powerful tool that we do have. And why I love gospel music and general praise music, and it's because even through the morning, it's used as a vehicle of jubilation. It's used as a vehicle of excitement and perseverance. Mm-hmm. And when you listen to gospel records, and I want to task anybody who is willing to do so, my favorite album of all time, at least it's on the top 4 list. B.B. King has a record from I believe it's 1950. No, late 50s, early 60s, and I should know it. I can't believe I do. I believe it's 55, but it might not be. My point being, B.B. King Sings Spirituals is truly, I believe, one of the greatest musical experiences I've ever had just by listening to that album, because there is something so contagious about the feeling that they're purveying through their music. You don't have to be a believer, and I respect anybody that is not. I think, though, what I'm more concerned about is, again, the feeling that they're trying to convey through their music, and that's just excitement. There's music at funerals, there's music at service, there's music in the good times and the bad, because we understand as human beings that there's something about it that we can't quite describe, but it brings us closer to something, some sort of feeling that, like you use the word transcendental. I don't think that the human brain is equipped with the knowledge to understand truly what that means, but we know that music does a trick that we can't quite explain. And so I think that's why I've always been so hooked on gospel music, is because whether you're a believer or not, I really do think there is something in those recordings, something in those pieces of music, something in those performances for everybody. Whether you believe in the messaging, whether you support the messaging, whether you don't condone the messaging, in the performance, there is such a contagious feeling of, again, I go back to the words jubilation and celebration and perseverance that I certainly have seldom found anywhere else, you know. And so back to your original question, how many times have I felt like I've, you know, transcended spiritually through music? I do mean it when I say every single one, because things can turn quick in life. I've learned that too easily, and every time I get to sing and share that moment with people, it's not something that I ever take for granted. And so you got to play. And now there's money in the mix, so it makes it sort of silly. But every time I get to experience music and get to have that feeling again, you know, you got to treat it like it's never going to come again, like the well's going to run dry. Because if you're not always thirsty, you're going to forget rather what that water tastes like and how it feels. And so every sip, you got to be thankful.
Yeah. I wonder why it's music, you know? Because it's not the same with sculpture. I don't look at a sculpture and, like, you know, your brain explodes like, oh my God, I touched the divine looking at this, whatever. Like, maybe it's just like it was the oldest form of art.
Right.
Music.
It's funny, like, but then again, for some people it is. For some people it's, you know, Bert and Ernie. I grew up watching Sesame Street, and Bert had this paperclip collection, and that was it, you know. He'd go down to the club and talk about it, and his paperclip collection, it was vast and it was very impressive. But you know, that's what his thing was. And Ernie had a rubber ducky. Rubber ducky was his passion. He bathed with rubber ducky and this sort of thing. And you know, Cookie Monster, his thing was cookies.
Yeah.
You go all up and down Sesame Street, and they all kind of got their own thing. But I think my point being that in a way that I can't understand, you know, there are synonymous feelings with different passions across human nature. But I do think the most universal has to be music, is because, and I guess I don't quite know why, but I think something interesting to note is that anybody can partake. Anybody can make a noise, clap their hands, stomp their feet.
Oh, I guess that probably is it, that it's like active.
Yeah.
Right, like you can participate.
Gotta be something, I think. And it's like, whether it maybe somebody that has a physical or mental disability, there's always a way around it, no matter your disability, that you can participate in this art form. And that's why I think, at least one of the many reasons that it's so sacred and so beautiful, is because well, you think of there's been many composers that have had their senses taken away from them, their very vital senses, and they've still persevered and continue to create, perform, and generally experience music just in different ways. And that's cool. There's nothing like that. Ernie might got rubber ducky, Bert might got his paper clips, and Cookie Monster, it's in his name, but nobody's got something that cool, in my opinion. Yeah.
Stevie Wonder or Bach?
You compare it. You know what? There isn't too much Bach on my playlist. And he was a bad man. But I gotta go Stevie.
Yeah.
Stevie is he's a mighty fine musician, mighty fine performer. I think he's written some of the best songs to have ever been written. Man, All I Do. That song is unreal. Bach's got some hits. And music history is so funny because it fits like a puzzle. If Bach didn't exist, Stevie Wonder wouldn't exist. That's just the truth. And so comparing them is always interesting to me, because it's not like sports. You know, I watch a lot of baseball, I watch a lot of basketball, boxing, and this sort of thing, and you're always comparing players because it is more statistical,
right,
more skill based. But music
like
is
directly competing.
Absolutely. And music is very competitive too. But only, I think, in an industrial standard, you really can't compare two artists because everybody's so different.
And one artist can have great success, another artist can have great success, and they don't need to infringe.
Yeah. Come on. And it's like, that's in the perfect world. Obviously, I get competitive too. You always want to succeed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes you just got to step back and be like, wow, we're all doing so cool.
Yeah.
This is such a fun time that we're all having together. And so that's why it's just, I could go on and on for hours.
Mm.
It's just the coolest.
Got a few questions from Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Doug MacArthur.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Favorite Mitch Hedberg joke.
We had this conversation actually. I think last time I saw him. Favorite one. He's such a funny guy.
Yeah.
I think, and Mitch is all right too. I think favorite Mitch Hedberg joke. There's how do you choose? I remember he said I think how did it go now? He said watched a commercial and it told me to forget everything I'd known about slip mattress covers. So I did. It was a load off my mind.
That's a really good
Rest
one.
in peace, Mitch.
Yeah.
He was great.
I watched it today. Like when I saw Doug MacArthur had written that, I'm like, oh, yo, I haven't listened to Mitch Hedberg in fucking years. So on my run, I was listening to it. And one where he's like, an elevator can never be out of order. It can only become stairs.
Yeah, man.
It's like, yeah, you never see an elevator out of order sign. You'd say elevator stairs. It's like, sorry for the convenience.
Yeah, man, he was funny. And he had such a funny way of performing too.
Yeah.
He was uniquely in a category of his own. And I don't even take in like too much stand-up comedy, but he was funny, man. He was a good dude.
Mm.
Yeah, rest in peace. Thanks, Doug. What a guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yeah. I was going from Jordy. Played trumpet on the
I
on the
know.
new tracks. Jordy Wellette. Favorite football team.
Favorite football team. I don't watch a ton of football, to be honest with you, but well, let me just say Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But if you're talking NFL, I've been known to take in a couple Detroit Lions games. I don't know how they're doing right now, but I'm still gonna stay with the pride. So we're gonna Jordan, I'm gonna lock in Detroit. Go Lions.
I like their story because they haven't won in forever, but they're cooking up.
They're coming.
Yeah.
The pride's coming. And when they win, I'll be right there like I was a fan the whole time.
Yeah. I've been with you guys since day one.
Day one.
Know.
I'm telling you. Go Pride, go.
Question from Matt. Who the hell does he think he is?
Thanks, Matt. I'm Irvin Miller, 22 years old, living in Winnipeg now, and just released my debut double single with the Irvin Miller Band.
Yeah.
Check it out. And now we're on the In the Zone podcast.
Yes, sir. Well, let's go a little deeper on that, though.
Yeah.
Who is Irvin Miller, really?
I think Irvin Miller is how deep can you go?
Yeah.
I think Irvin Miller is meant to be somebody who is ready at the drop of a dime. Irvin Miller is constantly thinking and ruminating on how Irvin Miller can improve as a person personally and also as a musician and an artist. But at the same time, Irvin Miller, I think, if anything, is a figment in everyone else's life to make things just a little bit easier and a little bit nicer, spread a little bit more love, and make people feel just a little bit better. Now, Irvin Miller was never really gifted academically. And, Irvin Miller even grew up, wanted to, be a lawyer and work a job that a politician maybe or something, because Irvin Miller was always growing up looking to help. And I think above all else, he wanted to help people. But the only way that he realized he could do that is through music. And that's not a shame either, you know, because a lot of decisions are made based on art, pop culture, and these sorts of things that we take in on a daily basis. And so I think he's a guy that is not very good at anything. But there's a musician named Charlie Crockett, and he said, "I'm not very good at anything. I'm just good at taking the long way." And I think that I think Irvin's not too far from that. You know, I'd like to say that I've certainly taken the long way, and I'm somebody that understands the privilege that I have innately through my skin color, through my being male and heterosexual and these sorts of things. But at the same time, I haven't had anything handed to me, and I work very hard, very, very hard to gain what I've been privileged with. And so I think if nothing else, he's somebody that you can rely on to get the job done when it needs doing, you know. And I like to just spread a little love and positivity if I can along the way.
Nice, man.
So that's who the hell I am, Matt.
Yeah.
In the zone.
Fuck yeah. Well, you're doing a good job of it. There was at your show at the Tap House, which is the first one that I saw you at, or I saw you with Wheel Horse.
Yeah.
First, and then I was like, oh man, I'm like, this guy, like, he's super charismatic, amazing voice, whatever. But I'm like, he's like just singing, like he can't, like he's not playing the guitar or nothing. And then I saw you on Instagram a couple days later. I'm like, motherfucker, he doesn't play guitar, and he's got his own band. I'm like, shit. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I gotta see this guy. And then I brought a friend, and yeah, like, great set, awesome time.
Thanks, man.
And then Ty, my friend, he was like, he's like, I actually think that was the best concert I've ever seen. And he wasn't even like, he wasn't even joking. You were like exaggerating. And then it was like a few months later, we were going to Deftones, and he's like, he's like Deftones. He's like, I'm hyped. He's like, maybe this will be better than Irvin Miller at the Tap House. That's the best show I've ever seen.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Shout out to Tap House. They I've had some really fun experiences there and played some really fun shows. And and you know, being an outsider too, not being from Manitoba, I was always nervous about how people would feel about you know, trying to take advantage of the resources that Manitoba has, their venues and the music scene and everything. And but I've been met with nothing but welcoming nature and advice and feedback and constructive criticism and support and love. And so, and Tap House was a big part of that, you know. So I've played a lot of fun shows. We played a lot of fun nights there at Tap House. And yeah, well, that's really nice. I'm glad to hear that that your friend enjoyed it there. Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm the luckiest guy, man. We have so much fun.
Yeah,
it's really, really cool, you know.
You guys got more songs you're working on to record right now?
Absolutely. The destination, the objective is always having a broader project, you know, whether it's a record or, well, no, it is a record. And so we have more songs coming down the pipe, and I'm always writing. You know, I did a lot of writing on tour, and I love writing songs, and it was something that I always kind of strayed away from for quite a while. I was always happy with the traditionals and the standards, but you know, I branched out a lot recently to really challenge myself to write better and hone my writing and gain unique inspiration and stuff. And so lots of writing, and we've been recording at No Fun Club, and the objective is a full length. I don't quite know when. And there's also works to get a live record in motion. That's what's most important to me. Live music is always I always prefer live records and live renditions of things, and I prefer playing live. I don't quite like the studio. Not to say I don't like well, I love the studio. It's really fun, but it's I think I revel more in the live aspect of things. I think I was
when having a crowd will change how you play it. 1000%,
absolutely,
right? So.
absolutely, and it's just it's more fun for me. I've never been very good at like locking in and working on very detail oriented tasks,
Right.
and tedious activities. And I'm a fixator, so I just want to make sure everything's perfect, and it's obviously not possible. But that's why I think live, you one take it, that's all you have, so you got to do it good. And
where would you record it?
I think I love working at No Fun. I love working with Riley. And I've been working with a couple other producers in town as well. And
oh, so you do like a live record, but not for an audience?
oh, the live record. My apologies. No, so for the live record, there's a couple of different locations in mind. I really do love the idea of it being in Manitoba, though. Like I don't want to go abroad, go elsewhere and do it. I don't think there's any value in that. We're a Manitoban band. We make Manitoban music, and I want to go elsewhere representing that on our sleeve. I don't want to be indoctrinated into some other community. It's not where we're from. We're from Manitoba, and we sound like Manitoba, whether Manitoba likes it or not, And so, I really like the idea of it being somewhere close to home, somewhere accessible, and God willing, if people from elsewhere were to pick up the record and listen to it, they would come to Manitoba with excitement. And again, it's all about just playing a very small role in building this music scene and cultivating this community for the national scale and the international scale, to understand there's some heavy hitters. Manitoba is no joke. Winnipeg is certainly no joke. And it's a city and it's a province that's here to stay and throw punches with the heaviest of the weight classes, because it's been doing that for a long time, but it's about time the whole world knows,
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
You hit a lyric on California, I'm Coming.
Yeah.
Hollywood, call it the land of dreams. I'm ready to find out what that means. Is that still the plan? Or is that the plan?
I love that song. That's so funny. Thanks for listening to that.
Yeah.
That song was written in a very tongue-in-cheek way, and there was also in all honesty, and that song and that's why I love that song.
Because you had
so
something
glad
about
you brought that up.
something about like I'm gonna die young.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's so funny. Thanks for bringing that song up.
Yeah.
I love talking about this one. This song, so California I'm Coming, was written out of a place of whether, I don't know if it was teenage angst or if it was this or that or the other thing, but I was just feeling very unsatisfied with everything around me, and I was feeling very sort of in the period, and it was in fact written in its majority in the period where I mentioned way back when in our conversation, where I was feeling very claustrophobic on the East Coast, and I wanted to break away, and that song is written from a perspective where you're only sort of imagining what the world is like outside of the confines of where you were by and large raised. And so I wanted to take that perspective of things, but at the same time acknowledging that that's a dream of yesterday. There's a facade in this very spectacular dream that you used to be able to just move to LA, move to New York, Nashville, whatever it may be, Memphis, and you could just make it work. You could just be a musician, and there'd just be like labels and people of importance just chewing at your shoestrings there and trying to get you to get signed, and money is just available, and women, and you're just living this lifestyle that is so unrealistic and quite frankly impossible in this day and age. And so I wanted to write a song that was vying for those old time dreams and experiences, but at the same time the narrator, as he follows through the song in the last verse, they get to Hollywood and they're bummed. They're nothing. Nobody cares about them. You know what I mean? So they're tail between their legs. They're coming back to whence they came, and you know, a much lesser man than they used to, and they regret the day they ever said, California, I'm coming. And it's just it's sort of making fun of and making a play on this classic rock dream where it's like, I'm a go to this land of the sun and die young and do all these things, and sort of tongue-in-cheek playing on how unrealistic that lifestyle is in this day and age. And so Hollywood, I don't think I'm coming. But I think it's for everybody's best interest anyway. You know, I think it's a fickle land, and I think it's not for me. Winnipeg is my Hollywood, you know. And so I don't think I'm coming anytime soon. I wouldn't say no at the offer, but you know, it would only be to book a return ticket. It'd always be round trip. It's not going to be one way.
Yeah, I don't see you getting a permanent residence in LA as the leader of a big band, and you're doing all like.
I don't think it's going to happen.
The big band's a possibility, and it's not that you wouldn't get the offer. It's not that it's not possible, but I don't think you're that guy.
Oh, well, I don't think it's like Waylon Jennings said, I'm too dumb for New York, too ugly for LA. So he'll meet in the middle, you know what I mean? That's my Manitoba. That's where I find at home.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Irvin Miller, I think we've said it all.
I've said everything I have to say, and if nothing else, you know, irvinmiller.com. Go there to find everything that's going on with the band and in my life, and Irvin Miller Band on the social media, and I'm Drunk Again and Horsepower, the debut double single, is out now everywhere, and
it slaps. Do you have any shows coming up?
Well, yes, I guess I should probably plug that to, I'm not very good at that part, but yeah, if you're in Winnipeg, we got the Grey Cup finals in Winnipeg, and so CFL Grey Cup Festival. We're lucky enough to be playing there. Coors Light's putting on the concert series, and we're opening for a band called the Wreck Laws, who I'm a big fan of, and as well as Katie St. Germain. And so that's going to be a very, very fun evening. And I believe my good friends, I hope I can call them buddies of mine, Mach 10 is leading the after party as well, and they're fantastic. So
is that at the stadium, or is it?
That's going to be in the RBC Convention Center downtown,
cool.
And then the game will be taking place at the Princess Auto there. And then after that, you know, I'm jetting off to Kenora, Ontario. I'll be playing with the band with Jackson Klippenstein. He's a good friend of mine, and he's so talented. And then really we'll just be bumming around Manitoba for the remainder of the year. A couple solo shows here and there, a couple band shows, and New Year's Eve extravaganza in Gimli, Manitoba at the historic Ship and Plow. So things like that, you know, and more exciting things, a couple festival spots that are yet to be announced through 2026. So we have good things on the horizon, you know.
Let's go.
Really lucky.
You guys have done so much in whatever 6-7 months with Irvin Miller Band.
Thanks,
made a huge name for yourself, and I think I'm super excited to see where it all goes.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm a big fan. It feels good to be in the zone, folks. Feel dialed in.
All right, thanks for coming, brother.
Thanks, man.
Well, I left my home down on the rural route. Told my baby I'm a-stepping out. Got the honky-tonk blues. The honky-tonk blues. Good Lord, I've got 'em. The honky-tonk blues. Well, I went to the dance and I wore out my shoe. Woke up this morning, more bad news. Got the honky-tonk blues. Yeah, honky-tonk blues. Good Lord, I've got 'em. The honky-tonk blues. Yeah, boy. Yeah, well, we must have stopped at every joint in town. city life has surely got me down. I got the honky-tonk blues. Ooh, the honky-tonk blues. Good Lord, I've got 'em, the honky-tonk blues. Ooh, Lord, I'm gonna tuck my worries underneath my arm, scat right back to my pappy's farm. I got the honky-tonk blues. Hey, honky-tonk blues. Good Lord, I've got 'em, the honky-tonk blues. Good Lord, I've got 'em, the honky-tonk blues. Good Lord, I've got 'em, the honky-tonk blues. Yeah. Hank Sr. Cool. Thanks, man.